Hi, my name is Shaun, and this is my journey to purpose. I grew up with a lot of anger. I never had my father, so I never had any kind of real role model to guide me and show me how a man was supposed to act. I ended up getting into a lot of trouble. I started boxing at a young age. It kind of just spiraled out from there. Started drinking, started doing drugs. In the summer, I somehow managed to accumulate over 20 simple assault charges. And because I needed this emotional support, I couldn't go to the school everybody else was going to. I needed to go to Lampeter Strasbourg. And that is where I met who would become my future wife. Things were good. We were just two kids in love. In 2010, we got married, and it was good until she told me she was pregnant. I started seeing this demon inside of me. You're going to hurt them. You need to leave. I went to the beach and I met a woman, and this woman made it easier to leave my wife. For 6 months, I died every day, not being with her. We got back together and things were rocky at first, but I got to see the birth of my daughter, and it was one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to be a man. I'm going to step up. But then 2014 came and I was feeling empty, and I was on the internet looking for different women. Here's this little girl that I love with all my heart. Here's my wife that I'm supposed to protect, and I failed them both, time and time again. And I had to live with that shame and that guilt. Anytime she would call, I would drop everything. She was my number one. I just wanted her. I wanted my daughter. I wanted my family. She asked me to come back. She wanted to work on the relationship. During the last few months, I had been going to my wife's church. I liked what I was hearing, but I didn't understand how to follow God. I didn't know a relationship with Jesus is what it took. God gave me a revelation. He said, I can fix your marriage. I can fix your life. You just got to give it to me. And my wife was like, hey, we need to talk soon. I was like, Friday we'll talk. We'll sit down, and I'm excited because I can't wait to tell her. Finally, I know how to fix me. We sit down, we talk, and I'm just rambling on. This is what God told me. I'm so excited. And she said, Shaun, I want to end a marriage. I was shocked because there was no indication. I knew I deserved it after everything that I put this woman through 16 years. I've been a manipulator all my life. I'm very good at it. So it was just words. Nothing she hadn't heard 100 times before. The only difference was what I felt. Her mind was made up. She wanted a divorce. I'm like, I need to go to church. I need to find my own church. And I was procrastinating. I missed the service time. And I looked back online and I saw Victory Church, 11:15 start time. I said, I'm going to church. I'm going to Victory. When Alyssa started singing on stage, I was captured. I looked up and I said, God, I want that. I want whatever it is she has. I was like, God, I need that in my life. And then Pastor Kurt, obviously it had to be a sermon on relationships. That day, that message was for me, because for the first time I believed that I was worthy enough to have a relationship with Jesus. Months before this, I told God I needed help, and I was like, God, just forgive me. And I said the sinner's prayer, but I didn't know what it meant. I didn't feel it. That day I did. And I said, God, you got to give me another chance. I immediately got on the serve team, security. Love being here. I was serving 2-3 services. I needed to be here. I was completely on fire. And I was like, you know what? In a year, God's going to save my marriage. I know it. I know He's going to save my marriage. He didn't. And I was bawling. probably harder than I've ever cried in my life, saying, God, please, I don't want to feel this anymore. I was so broken. And he said, stand up. He said, you don't have to punish yourself anymore. He said, I overcame the world. You're carrying something that doesn't belong to you. Give it to me and walk away. I realized that God healed my heart. Everything that I've been looking for, I found, finally. There's no more sadness in my life. I wake up excited, happy. People often say, for God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten son. It just kind of rolls off their tongue. But when I think about what he went through for me, knowing I would leave my wife when she was pregnant, knowing I would fail 1,000,000 times, he did that for me. He did that knowing I would hurt him. And if I can be restored, me, if my life can be put back together, then anybody can do it. Growing up my whole life, there was an emptiness inside of me. An emptiness that today I don't have anymore. And it's the most beautiful feeling in the world. God filled it. June, 6th, our divorce will be final. I would like my marriage restored, absolutely. But I realized that if God saves my marriage, I am blessed. If God doesn't restore my marriage,